Hello. Hello. I'm doing well. I'm about to go on live. I got to work right now. What's going on? Okay. Hello, how you doing? This is Brian Graves with Rotary Garden Hydroponics USA, Host Consulting LLC, and Minority Cannabis Report. Thank you for joining me here today. I was expecting you guys to come see me live because I wanted to be able to go ahead and discuss this industry. As we know, the cannabis industry and some of the things that have been going on that are not actual factual. And I wanted to kind of like clear the air up on that, because for me it's a little bit disappointing on how things are rolling out nationally in regard to this industry. And I wanted to set the record straight so that way we all have an understanding, because what's to be understood isn't to be talked about. So I'm going to go ahead and start this. Let me go ahead and give you guys some qualifications of mine. My name is Brian Graves. I live in Sonoma County, which is the Emerald Triangle. I've been there for the last 20 years, and I've been actively participating in the traditional side first for many, many years. And as it was rolling into the white market as we know it, the issues and some of the solutions and some of the things that are going on, I hope to be able to tackle today. I'm just going to do a lightweight touch-up since nobody's showing. The easiest thing for me to do now is just to go ahead and do this video and put it out there and then go from there. Like I said, my name is Brian Graves. I work for Host Consulting LLC, which is my company. I'm a consultant and on many different levels and different industries. I have an abundance of knowledge and firsthand experience in the industry I'm referring to now, and that'll be the cannabis industry and hemp industry. I'm kind of disappointed a little bit. I'm a little bit disappointed in some of the ways that things are presenting itself, and some of the issues that are going to stagnate the rollout of this industry that we all know. The color of cannabis, black and white. That's the title of this. Now, let me pause because I hello, sir. Mr. Cash.
Yo,
how you doing? Thank you for joining.
What's good? What are you doing, man?
Listen. I'm gonna tell you exactly what I'm doing. This is a good time. Being a Black executive in the cannabis industry, I there's certain things that I overlook, and there's certain things that I can't overlook. And in order for us all to, I believe, to be in accordance with what we're trying to do successfully, and that's roll out this industry on a positive note, and keeping everything strong, I decided to step up and just say something and kind of like put people on notice and on blast, because we're losing millions of dollars daily because we don't have our things together. You know what I mean? And for me, I know that ignorance is not a bliss. It's not something that I think that we should rely on. And traditional or conventional wisdom in this industry is going to kill it. And so if I don't step up and say something, then I'm part of the problem. I'm part of the problem. And that's not where I'm trying to go with that today. I'm trying to be the solution. Now, living up in Sonoma County for the last 20 years, I have an abundance of knowledge. I have a lot of resources and a lot of connections. And me being Black, living up in Sonoma County, let me clear this up for you guys one time. Not once have I ever felt any racial disparity or pressure against me from my farmers or anybody that I've dealt with up in Sonoma County, it wasn't about that to us. You know, what it's about to us is about the patient first, and the all the great things that this plant can do for your life, for your family's life, for your friends, or whoever the case may be. So, being a part of this and working hard and investing into this, and then seeing some of the shenanigans that are going on and the conversations that are going on that are not noteworthy is frustrating to me, because the more I listen or see this, it's the more I'm losing money. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to lose market share. I don't want to lose space. And my clients and everybody else now are ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and try to see if I can, just promote and figure out what the problem is from everybody's perspective. So that way we can start creating a dialogue. It's important. It's important that people understand, like, when I said the color of cannabis, black and white inequality, well, that stands for the black market and the white market. There's no race there. Cannabis has never called me nigger. I've never been called once nigger by cannabis. So for people to keep bringing in racial disparities and not being equal or having that chance, I understand. I can empathize to a point, but I cannot allow, because I'm a black executive, nobody's coming to ask me nothing. I live in Sonoma County. I can call it right now and get 60 cases allocated to me. Right now, on call. I can call right now and get any of the top producers in California on no more than 5 rings if they're out in the field. But nobody's asking me anything. And I keep seeing these award shows. I keep seeing these people getting pats on the back saying they did, great work. I've never been invited to any of these shows. I've never been to, I've never, once been approached, and I've asked numerous times, and nobody can give me the feedback. So to me, the communication is it needs to come back into a stronger dialogue, or else we're not going to win. Nobody's going to win. Nobody's going to win. Doesn't mean people of color, white people, all of us are not going to win, because there's a couple of different factors that I'm going to educate people on today, and that way they can at least have the basis of where the start's at. Okay. I'm fortunate enough that I have mentors. Everybody in the cannabis industry should have a mentor that has been, a part of this thing for a long time. It doesn't matter what category they're in, because there's multiple sectors in the cannabis industry. Not everybody has to be a grower. Not everybody has to be, we're dealing with concentrates. There's a lot of different sectors that we all can fill into, but I need to make sure that people understand what those sectors are and where they should be categorized. Is there racial disparities? Yes. Is there people that are biased and bigots and race? Yes, there's all of that. But all that's already been there since day one. There's other things that we need to do that would influence that for us having a better situation in America. Because every time, I feel like we try to get into something, there's little trim tabs that people are putting up because they're feeling a certain way. And it's becoming an emotional roller coaster where nobody has stability. Now, I've seen something the other day that somebody posted, and it was in regards to what they were calling, quote unquote, cannabros. Okay. There is no such thing as a cannabro. I don't know who posted or who was the author of that and had it to where it was like this big mysterious person. And I didn't even read the article, because all I seen was the title and shook my head like, what the F? Because I'm in the Emerald Triangle. I'm talking to these guys, I go to their houses. Not once have I ever heard them say cannabro. Hey, cannabro. What's a cannabro? But everybody was visually on that post, and they were commenting on it. I'm like, wow, that's deep. My question is, who has the farms in their pocket? Who has the necessities, the vital instrument to get the success to where it needs to be? I do. Why? Because I represent Rotary Garden Hydroponics as well. So I'm an executive, but nobody's asking me anything. But there's issues when people are using terms in this budding new sector that's been traditionally old for a long time, and they're hybridizing it, and it's causing confusion. And I just wanted to put my 2 cents in and see if it would stick. And I'll be happy for anybody to call me out on it, or even check my references, please. I happen to be somebody who deals with integrity, and I'm in the trust business. A lot of people, 98% of the people right now that are coming into this industry have no clue what they're doing, and they believe that since they're in their own mindset, they're not willing to accept that they don't know what they're doing and ask for help because they don't know who to ask. Nobody's ever asked me yet. I post all the time on LinkedIn, and that's just one of my little social media platforms. Do I use it as trying to drum up, what I'm saying? Am I using it to drum up business? Not necessarily, because I got other categories I can go into. But when I see people talking about us collectively as a whole, and then which affects me, because until I see that there is a big racial, problem going on, I don't know why we're talking about it. First thing we should talk about is Schedule 1. When are we going to get the Schedule 1 down? Nobody, we're not championing that. So until we get the Schedule 1 down, nobody's going to play in the field. Right now, as we stand, they still have it as a Schedule 1. And that Schedule 1, to give you, for example, California, one of the biggest producers in the globe of cannabis. I live where that production's at. Our BCC regulation states that we have to go through all of these different metrics in order for us to be able to produce cannabis onto the white market and have it's checked out for consumer goods. It's safe for the patient, safe for the consumer, which is great. I understand that, right? But what I don't understand is sometimes we don't look at the bigger picture. Well, they're over-regulating, and they put too much taxation in California. And there's other things that people's families and farms are going to be decimated, and they're being decimated right now. But we're here on LinkedIn, where there is a platform nationally, and we're talking about things that don't even matter. That's my gripe today. Now, I want us all to win. I want it to be competitive marketing at its best. I want to have that standard raised. That bar needs to be higher. We are not performing at a level that is anywhere close for us to do a rollout. We might as well revert back to the black, which is the traditional side. That's what that's the only other choice. If not, we're going to be pushed out of a whole industry because we were squabbling and doing all this and didn't even pay attention to what was going on. We still have Canada and Mexico on our borders. They are two of the highest producing cannabis, locations outside of the United States. So if we're gonna go on to a global, rollout, guess what? We need to have our shit together here at first, or else we're not gonna be able to do that. And that's where we want to be. We want to be on that global stage where we know that the United States is top tier in production of cannabis. You know what I'm saying? And by all means, we can do that. We just have to have the right mindset, the right thinking, and have people that are qualified to help lead. We need more leaders and not followers. Okay, so I said, you know what? Let me look into what the French toast is going on, because I don't believe that what I'm seeing is true, because I'm dealing with the real madness of trying to do a rollout for my brand, which is Rotary Garden Hydroponics, minority cannabis, and I'm stagnated because I got to wait for everybody else. My stuff's ready to go. And my stuff is really what you guys need in order for you to be conducive in the actual field, because you got to have your finger on where your production is going to come from. Now, everybody's they're doing a lot of great things of marketing and doing all this, these parties and all that stuff, but not one time has anybody went to where the farmer and said, what do you need? How can we help you? How can we get the knowledge from you? Well, so what I did was I took the initiative and I linked up with a couple of my farmers. We have Larkey Farms out in Clear Lake, California, and we have Rico's Farms up in in Redding, California. And those are just two of my guys that I know commercially, they're big enough to make the movement happen, okay? So what I wanna do is, I said, guys, and my farmers, they're feeling it. They're feeling it too. They're feeling it because that product is dying at the vine and nobody's seeing that. It's a living organism, cannabis plants. And people don't understand that the more time you guys waste deciding and doing, it's taking something and weakening it. Now, if you start talking to me about strains, you don't know what you're talking about, because cannabis, the plant, if you go down to it, is so volatile and changes. It has so many variables that you'll never get the same thing twice. This is proven. I have the information, I can share it, not a problem. But until we start doing these little small things, by cracking our heads up and saying, okay, what's the deal? What do we need to do? Well, we got to get the Schedule I off. First of all, the only racial tension that's going to happen is from the government. The government is the factor. The government is the factor because guess what? They want to control it. They need to get their portion out before they even let this thing go. Now, the issue is the government doesn't know how to break down the financial, dollars of the cannabis plant or what it really is worth, the estimate. No, excuse me. Now we have all these ideas that we think, oh yeah, it's going to be $1 billion industry. Yes, it potentially can be, but there are factors and variables that are there first before we can even crack that nut. And I need people to understand, like, it's great posting all this stuff and doing all this, but do the work. Do the work, show results so that way we can all be successful equally. If we said, listen, I'm just going to talk out the side of my neck for a second. Let's just say if we said, you know what, let's segregate this thing. Let's see exactly if we put the whites over here, the blacks over here, Mexicans over here, Asians over here, and we said, you guys just do your cannabis thing to yourselves, we'll do it to ourselves. That would be unbalanced. That would be 100% unbalanced, right? It wouldn't be no fun at that point. Why? Well, historically speaking, from what I know, blacks are the top spending culture or classification of citizen in America. I know for a fact that a lot of the consumption is coming from my community, and that's okay. But what we don't want to do is I don't want my guys to feel like they have to put their hand out and say, give me, give me, give me, when that's not the issue. The issue is education and understanding where you're going to position yourself. A lot of the time, a lot of these newer companies that are starting out, they're coming from other industries that have no history with cannabis. Now, it's great, everybody's excited, we want to get on, but please, we have to start thinking critically about this. We have to not bring these different, weird, like social problems into something that hasn't even been taken off yet. Like I said, we still have the Schedule I. Is anybody out here said that, look, I got a good handle on how to get the Schedule I off? No. They're selling, there's a lot to go over. So I'm just going to go ahead and start saying, there is no cannabis. The social equity part of this is just to keep you guys distracted, because the more you guys try to look for handouts, the more market share is being slid out the side door, because there are people there that did their research, that know exactly where they're at, and they're waiting because there's going to be a front load of investors that are putting money into the market now to try to hold on to their spot. But what they're doing is their money's going to weaken and dissipate because they don't have the product yet. They don't even have the sales channels to get that product out. First of all, let's not even talk about the Schedule I. Let's talk about the black market, traditional. How are we going to get the traditional market to ease up and allow this market to take off? Does anybody have any suggestions? Anybody at all? I'll wait. Nobody has, because nobody knows what the black market is except a few of us. When I say few, I'm talking about a few out of all the millions. So it'd be like 100,000 of us. But I don't see anywhere on social platforms where that information is being put out so that way you guys can understand what you guys are getting into. Okay. Now, the traditional market, which I came from, and I understand, is we had a mission that it was for patients first. That's why we took most of the risks that we've done when you guys were at your other jobs being cool and safe. You know what I'm saying? When I was white knuckling it down 101, coming out of Laytonville off of Spy Rock, you know what I'm saying, with my truck, nobody was there helping me try to dodge the police. Nobody was there saying, hey, look, let me help you take this route. I did all that because I took that risk because I had to do it for the patients. I did it for a deeper meaning. My passion was there. And that's what I'm just going to share with you about that on the judicial side. But anyways, you have to understand that the black market, nobody runs it. Nobody owns it. It's been an entity all by itself. And it generates billions of dollars. Billions. So why would that $1 billion entity want to release to the white market from people who don't understand it? That's what doesn't make sense to me. But we still see people having these congratulation parties, and they're doing this. We need to focus. We just coming off of COVID-19. Almost decimated. It decimated a lot of other industries. It decimated. They won't come back. That's sad. But here and now, we have something that can potentially ease the pressure in America economically and medically and go from there. So I like to do things based on facts. So we're gonna do a little work, and this is what I believe we have to do. We have to go back to the basics and understand. Ask somebody who really knows. Take a trip to Sonoma County, Humboldt County, Mendocino County, and go talk to them. See what they're saying. People are making decisions on not even knowing how the question even came up. And that's where the problem's at for me. Because I love this industry. I love the things that I've done. I love the people that I deal with. You know what I'm saying? Throughout time, the relationship that's built, it doesn't matter what we were talking about, whether what color or pigmentation was. It was all about the green. And you can take that however you want. And I'm not talking about green about environmental, or environmental extremists. I'm talking about green for that plant and for that money. Because there's nothing for free. We know this, right? So once again, I had to have this because I don't think people really understand the severity of what we're doing. And I say we, us, because I'm a part of it too. Yeah, I don't have a sidebar step along like, okay, I'm over here, I'm safe. Am I safe? Yeah, I'm safe. But let's just keep it in retrospect. I'm not safe. Because if everybody else is failing around me, that doesn't make me a winner. When I tell people I make champions, not changes. There's a reason why I stand on that. I'm like Kobe Bryant every day in the gym, shooting jumpers, shooting my free throws, doing everything I can to make sure that I stay on top of my game. How come nobody else is doing that? Because not everybody can be a Kobe Bryant. Not everybody can be that star player, but they need to play their positions. They're definitely needed. But I think that our priorities are fucked up. And I think we need to clean that shit up. Now, I had an issue this Friday, and I'm going to get into my personal life because I believe that in doing business, especially when it's going to be this monetary value and there's going to be such, a big, rush of influence, I want to have integrity where it should be at up front, honesty up front, transparency up front. But we haven't been doing that, have we? No. We have been trying to fake it till we make it. Hopefully, we'll go about and everything will be good. But let's go back to the Black. There are communities where I live at. Let me ask you this. Have you guys ever driven out into the country road, way out in the sticks yonder? Nothing out there. Get up over the horizon and you see, lo and behold, in the middle of all this nothingness, a brand new Ford dealership, fucking Starbucks, you know what I'm saying? All these little stores. Like, no, I've never seen that. Logically, let's think about this. Don't you know there's other corporations that have been, they've been straddling that sideline to get into this because they know what this is going to be about? Being a Schedule I, there's no banking involved. There's no banking involved. So this is a cash business, a cash crop. That element in itself has a lot of different variables, and we'll touch on a couple of them. But let's just get back to logic. So I go out into these sticks, which I do, and I see this big old Ford dealership and Starbucks, like, yo. But I'm a little bit more swifter in thinking and put one and one together, like, okay, I see what they're doing, right on. Because my farmers don't come off the hill. They don't come, you don't see them just floating around down in town. They'll probably be up in the mountain for 6 months. But there are people who are smart enough saying, you know what, these guys need Fords too. These guys need Starbucks too. Right? Smartest move. They don't have to come up the hill because they're spending cash money. If we want to have success at this, we need to start from scratch. Everybody has to be on one accord for a national rollout. We cannot do it state by state. We understand that state by state is going to be so diluted and so, mixed up that there won't be a standard or a metric for this to roll out successfully on the national stage. How many people have ever heard of the word flower-centric? Flower-centric. Okay, probably none of you, maybe 1, 2, or 3 of you. And this is the reason why. Flower-centric is a description of where cannabis is going to be in the future. Because there are some of us that do know, we got like a little crystal ball, we can see 10 years down the line. And we know that that's only going to be the way that people are going to identify with the Emerald Triangle. The Emerald Triangle flowers are going to be flower-centric. That means when you go to your store in New York and you buy, something from California, it's going to have a flower-centric logo on it. Ask me how I know that. I was in the meetings when they were talking about it. The decision makers. So I'm aware of this. It didn't have nothing to do with race, so I don't feel like I had to throw it out there. So I need to understand this. Now, Mr. Lang, I know that you work very hard and diligently in what you do. And I want to give you a shout out to my guys over at Cannabis Talk 101, Big Joe, Pop Brothers of Law, my other guy, I can't remember, but he was Blue. That there is a metric of success. That there is a standard that we can go off of from a social media platform, aspect, because they tell the truth. They have all their facts. They do their research. They have the real people there. They have a big support via iHeartRadio. So you have to put one and one together and start connecting the dots and say, well, let me hear what they have to say, because they're telling the truth. I happened to be at MJ Biz in 2021 and was happened to be a guest on that show. Very grateful, because it gave my team a look globally that I didn't have before. And the reason why I got, invited on there was because I'm in the field and I met the team. They seen me in my natural environment. So they invited me to Vegas and I went. Great show, by the way. I was on there with Dan Herrera and another gentleman from the Cardinals. I can't remember his name, but so when I'm saying that these are my qualifications, please believe I'm not sitting here just trying to talk. I'm trying to instill in us a sense of reality. Now, I got a lot of great networking, a lot of great, people that I love dearly, that we have been through the fire with each other. And they don't all look like me. So I don't want that to start, because people are not seeing where we should be. Everybody wants to get their cut, but nobody wants to do the work, right? And this isn't as scheduled, or I didn't have a prepared speech to talk about. I just knew that I needed to say something. And I knew that I needed to be in a position to say, listen, guys, I have the information. Let me give it to you. Matter of fact, so I was talking to one of my mentors today. His name is Alexander Carpenter from the Grow Big 6, Sonoma County. This gentleman is a genius, happens to be white. And he has a vast, I mean, the knowledge that he has, ridiculous. He's never once, and he treats me like I'm his son. I love the guy because he's given me the tools that I've needed to be successful and the proper information in order for me to know that when I go ahead and give it out, it's not going to be misleading, right? We're in the trust business. Before it even came to the white market, you had to be a trusted individual to go to the farm because it's a cash business, right? If you didn't know what mile marker to turn off on, you didn't go to the farm. If you tell me you went to a farm and give me the address, I'm gonna call bullshit. Because 9 times out of 10, it's a mile marker that gets you to the location of where the farms are at. Now, the reason being is because when it was in the black market, being a cash cow and knowing that there was such demand for it, people were getting killed. Their families were being held hostage. All the bad negative shit that you guys haven't seen yet, we've already been through. So I'm a little bit resentful at times when I see you guys over there high-fiving and shit, and you guys haven't even done half the things that we had to do to get to where we're at right now. And then to be disregarded is the most blatant disrespect that I've ever fucking seen in my life. And I'm almost ready to tell my farmers, fuck these people. You know what I'm saying? Let's take 2 years off. Let's redo our soil and let them go ahead and figure it out. And when they do figure it out, we'll step back in. Because right now, what you guys are doing is you guys are killing my farmers off, which is a no-no. People don't understand. When you guys have, there's 4 principles I told you guys earlier. Supply, demand, buy, sell. Learn those principles first before we do anything else. Learn the rules, learn the law. Talk to somebody who really has the qualifications to win. Don't be scared that you don't know shit from Shinola. I know you don't. Or else we wouldn't be having this conversation. Investors are not going to give money to anybody, or there's not going to be a social equity program that's going to be able to put you in a proper position to be successful in the cannabis industry. Because you got to start off with the relationships first. Everything starts off with the relationship. Why? Let's just think about this again. Let's go back to the black market. I'm in the black market, right? I'm a big farm, doing my thing. Been doing it for the last 20 years. Me and my family are okay. Matter of fact, we're better than okay. Doing what I've been doing, I haven't been busted by the cops or nothing. Why would I want to give up all of my good money? That's good money to me. Back to you guys who don't know what the fuck you guys are doing, and then you guys are gonna tax me on it. When I've been making $1 million clean, I had $1 million. Now that you guys are in it, I'm only getting 500,000 out that $1 million. Doesn't make sense, does it? We're gonna always have that problem of the black market. If we don't change our thinking around and say, okay, listen, we need to incorporate the farmers first, incorporate the farmers first, so that way we can start doing allocations. Colorado, they're the East Coast model for cannabis. Oregon, Washington, California, they are the staple. And Nevada. Arizona is a little bit, it's borderline right there. But those are the staple states that produce and have the producers there that will give you the proper information to win. Now, in Colorado, let me explain something to you guys. There are elements, variables, like I told you earlier, that you guys have to have. If you don't have them, you're going to be gone. In Colorado, there's something called remediation. Okay? Remediation is when you process your flowers through either an ozone machine or something like that, and it takes out and kills all the negative nastiness. Let's just say that for simple terms. But it's a needed because that's the only way that their cannabis can what? Get onto the market for human consumption. Then it's safe. A lot of people don't know that. If you go to indoor, if you have an indoor grow, it doesn't matter if you change the lights from 18 to 12. That's not what's making the plant react. Is it conducively doing it? Yeah. How do I know this? I went to the scientists. They gave me the data. I went and asked the questions and found out the truth. So when I see, everybody saying, oh, we're not having a chance, you guys are not putting in the work. There should be 1,000 people on this right now. Because I have it to where like I said, My farmers in Clear Lake and in Reading, they said, Brian, go ahead and invite your people to the farm, bring them here, let them do a walkthrough, let's sit down and have a dialogue. This is unheard of. This is unheard of, where the farmer is saying, okay, fuck it, come on, let's bring them in. If you, Brian, if you feel like this is gonna help, get us to where we need to be and everything's gonna be fair, we trust you. So starting off in March, because we're gonna do it in March, April, May, June, July, my guys are busy. The invitation is gonna be off the table. In May, I'll be in Vegas at the White Label Convention as a keynote speaker there. I have a booth, a 20 by 30 booth in Vegas, May 25th and 26th at the White Label Convention. Okay, and the White Label deals with something a lot of you guys are gonna have to deal with. So you guys are gonna probably see me there if you're really, in the know. But if you guys are not ready to accept that, okay, I don't have all the answers, then it's not gonna work. And I don't wanna keep giving away all of this information for free. I had to pay the ultimate price for almost all this information I have, whether it be money, time, or whatever the case. But I need you to understand that there's no cannabis, there's no mysterious, racial, things going on. Cannabis has never called me nigger, not once. So don't bring it into it. I'm a Black executive. A couple of companies I used to work for, Cannacraft. I was there at the beginning. Let's leave it at that. Cincy Magazine. I was there at the beginning. I know them. I have an established relationship with them. And these are just outside entities, outside of my farms. Who else did I work with? Great. Bud Lightyear, Nebraska, an abundance. But the thing is that if we don't start now, we're not going to be able to make it. So let me tell you something else about the black market and this cash crop that we're talking about. If there's no banks involved, that means that there's mattresses all across America that are stacked to the ceiling with money, right? With money. So if that's the biggest issue, because nobody really right now, let's just say in the traditional side, there is no big transactions happening because of how tight it is to get money transferred back and forth. That's just the key. The reason why we're having such a hard problem is the government doesn't know how to take or how much money is really involved. So they're holding it at a Schedule 1 until they figure out really how much money we're making. And when I say how much money we're making, I'm gonna do it like this. It's called breaking down a pound, okay? In the traditional side, 1 unit, and 1 unit means 1 pound, has 455 grams in it, 16 ounces in it, okay? Now, when you have that, you say, well, Brian, what do you mean? What do you mean break it down? Well, there's different valuations. Let's just say we go to the dispensary, okay? Dispensary, you can go buy an ounce of cannabis from them. Let's just say it's $150. So, and I'm gonna get my calculator out so that way I can give you actual numbers and you guys can see why there's a dilemma and what's going on, so that way you guys are not asleep at the switch. So if we have it at 150 times 16, 2,400, if you can see that. That's $2,400 that dispensary made off that unit. Right now, traditionally, units are ranging from $500 to $1,000. That's a disparity. That is a problem. That's an issue. Because that big inflation, that big markup, the farmer didn't get any of that, which he should have got the lion's share off of it so that way he can keep producing. But since everybody wants to have their share, me, it pushed it to the left, right? Middlemen and the government have been our downfall. And I have to say this. If we don't have these types of situations, it'll probably be a lot easier. But until then, it's not going to be there. But like I said, there's been so much money already been made. Why would anybody want to give up their money? That's what you guys are all doing it for. Well, it should have been about the patient. Because when I was on it, there was a little boy who had cancer that needed to have some Charlotte's Web. And I had access to it. There was a lot of different things that people don't understand of why we're here where we're at. When we were traditional, you guys called me scumbag, drug dealer, loser, right? But as soon as they say, oh yeah, you guys can go legit, everybody named mama started coming, right? They started to become the authority. And I was like, yo, I laughed at it first. But then when I started losing money and I started losing market share, that becomes a problem. Because it's not a joke. There's a lot of people been lifetime investors of this. Now we can talk about reform, we can talk about all those things, but if we do, it's going to muddle up what we need to be doing. Yes, the government should goddamn release all those cannabis, crimes and let them go by the wayside, because they never really hurt nobody in society, like the schedule is saying. And what's the schedule? The schedule is on the white side. So I need to understand, what do we need to do to get this dialogue back? So I talked to my farmers. They said, yeah, Brian, go ahead and bring them here. I said, okay. So I'm going to charge, I'm going to charge people now for your group to come to California, to the Emerald Cup, to sit down and talk to the real influencers. It's going to cost you 10 grand. 10 grand. And what do you get for 10 grand? You get to go to on the site. You'll get all of the ins and outs of what needs to be done for you to be successful in your state with the people who wrote the script, not the narrative. Okay? There's a difference between definition and interpretation. I am the definition. Your interpretation is wrong. Let me help you guys fix it. So we're going to charge people. So you guys can privately hit me up on LinkedIn or go to my business website at www.myhost.com or www.rotarygardenhydroponicsusa.com. And you can say, Brian, I want my group to come out there. We're only going to take about, at the most, because we only have a short window, I'm going to say 5 groups this year. 5 groups. And you'll have the opportunity to talk about white labeling with them. My farms are willing and ready to do genetics that are conducive to your territory. Meaning we're not going to just, oh, here, take this. Because we know that you know what you want. You just didn't know how to go about getting it. I do. So we're going to go ahead and start alleviating that way. Now, like I said, I do Rotary Garden hydroponics, meaning that I have indoor cultivation on lock. The East Coast will be loving me here in about 90 days. Because I'm going to be the solution that's going to help you get to where you're at in your markets. And we can all make money together. But until we get our heads, situated in the game, that's going to be it, So with that being said, I think, no, we're going to go through definitions right now. I'm not done with you guys. Okay. I'm going to let you guys, I'm going to bring you guys onto something and we're going to go from there. Let's see. What's the definition of racial equality? Okay, definition. Racial equality is the belief that individuals, regardless of their racial characteristics, are morally, politically, and legally equal and should be treated as such. Furthermore, it is the belief that different racial groups as groups are equal, with none being inherently superior or inferior in intelligence, virtue, or beauty. That's good. Now, what's the difference between racial equality and racial equity? Let's look at that. Many corporate and government leaders, including President Biden, and this is all on Google. I Googled this. The Google's been my friend. You see that? This is Google. are talking about racial equity right now. Okay. Many corporate and government leaders, including President Biden, are talking about racial equity right now. Equity is different from equality. Equality treats everyone the same regardless of need, while equity achieves fairness by treating people differently dependent on need. That says a lot. Now, I'm proud of who I am. I'm proud of my heritage. I'm proud of my legacy. And I'm always going to stand on that, just like you will stand on yours. But what we have to really maintain and think about is, does it really belong in the space of cannabis? No, it doesn't. It doesn't, because that's not the issue. The issue was, first, the patient wasn't getting their products that they needed for them to live. There was such a backlog on what? On suppliers, because there's so many different variables. Nobody's seeing that, right? But I have the keys to get you out of that. So we're gonna have it. We're gonna do farm visits, 10,000 a pop, 5 of them this year. Okay, and I guarantee you that $10,000 investment should be able to put you somewhere around 500,000 on the low end worth of knowledge to be successful and have the support when you leave up out of there. I know that 98% of you have never walked onto a farm. Let's just keep it real. Let's do that. I'm going to invite you to a farm if you'd like to go. And I'm going to be able to give you exactly all of the proper information. And you can ask the questions from the source himself. Stop with the fear tactics, okay? It's not going to be healthy for us. I'm also going to share something else too, because I don't think you guys believe fat meat is greasy. I don't believe you guys think fat meat is greasy. I think you guys think it's lean, like sizzling, but it's not. It's fat and it's greasy. Let's go back to this one right here. So this I'm about to share right now it's I can share this one because this one was kind of like this call was or this conversation was, it didn't have any of the it doesn't have any of, well, let's just hear. Let's see what happens. See if you guys can hear this phone ringing.
Hey, good afternoon, Alexander. How you doing?
Alexander Carpenter.
Good.
Grow Big Six, and I'm kind of my friend.
Advice I need from you.
I need advice from him. I'll ask him.
Today at 5:30 Pacific Standard Time, I'm going to go on LinkedIn and live, and I am going to try to bust open, this market by, interjecting what the hell the problem is in this industry, because it's a lot of fuckery going on from where I'm looking at.
A lot of fuckery going on from where I'm looking at.
None of us are going to win unless somebody starts calling this shit out.
None of us are going to win.
Call it out today. Everybody loses. So I'm going to introduce the green market project that you have created. Is it not the fads and are you talking about the
full screen.
I know which one you're talking about. Yes. I'm going to go through the manifesto. I know. And the crazy thing about it is, right? So guess what I seen yesterday that just like threw me through a loop. So I keep seeing all these guys fucking having these congratulation parties and all this shit. These like, he got this award. And I'm like, what the fuck did you guys do? You know what I'm saying? Who are you guys? Nobody's qualified. Nobody's qualified nobody. You know what I mean? And it's getting frustrating because the people that are really, really in this field, we're getting like drowned. Yes, yes.
So what he's explaining is that we're following conventional ideologies and wisdom into thinking that that is what's going to give us that leading edge, or that's going to give us what? I don't know if I'm still recording. I think I am, but I'm trying to share a screen. So what he's saying is like, yes, there is solutions. Now, Mr. Alexander Carpenter, he created a green market as well as the Cannabis Manifesto, and I will share those because those are very, very, very important to the rollout of what we're going to see as a successful cannabis industry. Looks like it's telling me to sign in here. Let's see here. You sign in with Google. Let's see if I have to do it this way. I'm just trying to share my drive with you guys so I can show you guys some documentations, because documentation beats conversation all day long. And when you have documents, that means that you have exactly the proper formula for a successful, go at, whatever your endeavor is. And I'm going to go ahead and share it. There's a lot of different files. Like I did some consulting work for Waters Pharmaceutical Company, Eden Labs. This was back in 2014 when I was going to these corporate offices, and they're shuffling me into this back office in the back corner where everybody's powwow. And we're all talking about how, it's going to be for us to, get to, certain research and development to, possibly find a way to isolate, certain aspects of cannabis, like for supercritical CO2 extraction, or all those other different elements. And I was a part of that. So I have all the information. I have information on a rolling, a mobile, let me do that first too. Okay. Just trying to open up my screen, guys, because I think, like I said, documentation breeds conversation. And in order for me to be my ultimate goal, which is I want to hit $1 billion out of this industry. And I know I can, but I can't do that until I make you guys millions. Okay. So I need you guys to understand the importance of how, this is going to be going forward, because if you know better, you do better. And I need you guys to understand, like, look, it's make sure you trust. I do trust. Continue. Having that notion that, okay, so look, boom. I don't know if you guys can still see me on this video here. Okay, let me go. There we go. So I'm going to share a screen now. I can see myself there. I need to share that. Share it. I'm trying to share it, guys. Okay. So let's see. Let me go ahead and get something. Kentucky Licensed Baker. Look at all this abundance of information. And information is the actual factual. That's gonna get it. Where is my trying to get into my other files. For some reason it's not allowing me. There we go. Let's see. These are not what I'm looking for. Let me just try to see if I can get into these files here. This is photos, Kentucky license, text. Why? see here. Nope, not that one. Where did they go? See if that's what I'm gonna see. I'm gonna get in this one. I got two screens opening. Let's connect to OneDrive. Let's see what happens here. OneDrive. Oh, here we go. Google Drive documents. Oh, Rotary Garden. Let's go documents. All these different settings in here. Grower IQ technology, endocannabinoid system, Canatop business. I have a lot of info. I want to go ahead and I want to get into Mr. Alexander Carpenter's work, and that's going to be the manifesto and the green market. And I think it's going to be very imperative that we look at these documentations that I have, because it will give us a good understanding of really what we're up against. Let's see here, Google Drive. Let's try that one again. I don't see why my documentation won't allow me there. Okay, so listen, there's a good one. Let's go here for a second. So this is going to be, let's look at the overview. Oh, sure. Let's see. Okay, it's not opening. What's going on here? Current state. And I want to be open. One second, people. We will get this to go here pretty quick. Any projects 2022? I got a lot of information. Okay, let me do a little sidebar here real quick. What was happening here? Let's see something. I'm having a problem sharing my screen, but I'll just go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and go off my phone and go from there because, like I said, it's important. I really wish that we were able to have this, conversation, very candidly and very quickly. But since nobody showed up, I'm going to go ahead and probably post this to LinkedIn. You guys can take a look at it. But I'm going to tell you now, please refrain from using anything that has to do with emotions. Leave them at the door. Okay. If you guys want to have a real dialogue about what it's going to take, call me, hit my inbox. I have the resources. I have the structure, and I have the proper information to give to you in order for you to be successful anywhere you want in the United States. I've dealt with a lot of the sides of where the creation comes from. Okay, being out of the Emerald Triangle. And that's the standard that I stand on, because I know that my farmers out there who are my friends are looking like they're baffled because it doesn't seem like nobody really cares. And that's what we have to do first, because the farmer cares about the products that he produces that we consume. So why can't we just do the small thing and care about the farmer and understand that we need to have a conversation where leaders are in that room, not brokers and middlemen, not people who think they know what they're doing, but people who can actually get verified, validated, and really, make a difference. I don't mind people coming up, and like I said, bars down here, we need to bring that motherfucker up here. If we don't, we're all gonna lose. Well, you guys are gonna lose, not me. I made sure of that, and I made sure that with a conscious decision of knowing that I love humans. I love the human race. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't like to use the word culture because it rhymes with vulture, and culture doesn't mean nothing. It has no significance to it. So when we say, oh, the black culture, there is no black culture. There's no white culture. You know what I'm saying? There are things that we do, differently. Absolutely. But the culture, using these taglines to tag on it, we got to kill that. Yeah, I'm gonna end this now. And I'm going to say that I'm going to, I will do what I need to do in order for you to be successful. We make champions, not changes. I don't want to be resentful and say, oh, they're not even going to get it, because that's not my position. My position now is to be coach. Okay. Coach, offensive coordinator. I'm going to be that. Matter of fact, I'm going to change my name to Coach. Start calling me Coach from now on. Okay. And then that way we can go ahead and establish that we both understand that you guys don't know what you're doing. And I have at least the tools and knowledge to do so. I just don't have the manpower. How about that? That means we're equal. So come on board, come talk to me. Let's go ahead and get this done. Like I said, let's go do a farm visit so you guys can see firsthand what it takes. How about this? We might even sleep out in the field, so that way you guys can really understand. And if you're black and you want to be a grower and a farmer, let's go out there for 3 days and sit out there and then see what happens. And a lot of you are not going to want to go. I know this for a fact. So let's stop bringing racial things in there. Let's keep our head in the game. Let's think about the patient, think about recreation. Let's think about all the good things that's going to help in each of our individual states in order for us to be successful. Okay. Till then, till next time. This is Brian Graves with Rotary Garden Hydroponics, Host Consulting LLC, and the Minority Cannabis Report. Remember that, Minority Cannabis Report. That's mine. So I need you to, I bid you adieu. I bid you guys adieu. Have a good night. And my lines are open. Please, somebody challenge me. Somebody say, call me out on this shit. Say you're lying, you're a bullshitter. I'm ready. I'll be your Huckleberry. Call me. I got you. Thank you. Ciao.